started the recording. Okay, so we'll start with the basics of Angular. Before that, what this course is going to cover. So this is going to cover the basics, and then we have a one more. Okay, do you know Ganesh? He is also joining now. OFSS Ganesh.
I'm not sure.
I think you would have seen him. Maybe you. I mean, he was in Arbe.
No, I forgot actually.
Okay, no problem. 1 second. Um, he is asking for the link. All right. So Ganesh, are you in? Can you hear me? Ganesh?
Yeah, Rajesh. Good evening, Rajesh.
Good
Yes.
evening. Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'll get started. I was just going through the first slide. So what this entire course of Angular 11 it is about is, we'll start with the getting started, the basics of Angular. Along this entire course, I have scheduled a course project or the demo project which we'll be building, covering all the topics. And then we'll go over the components, modules, and the data bindings. After that, we'll go over the directive, service and dependency injections, routing, the observable forms, the reactive forms, and the pipes. Then after these core components are done, then we have to hit the API, which is we have to fetch the database, fetch from an API. We are not going to build a backend, but we'll write an API just to consume and post data. Then we have the authentication and routing. We'll see how to authenticate a user in Angular and how to secure the Angular URLs. And finally, we'll see how to deploy the app. And we have an NGRX, which is an React JS module, so plugin. So we'll see what are the advantages and how to use it to make the Angular application more powerful.
Okay, Rajesh. Thank you.
Okay, so getting started. So Angular is a framework to build an SPA, which is a single page application. Single page application means the page will not refresh. Traditionally, like 15 years back, when I started as a fresher, the way the web application was built was like we used JSP and we used the MVC pattern, where JSP will call the servlets. Servlet is going to hit the database and fetch the data, and it is going to return back to servlet. Later, what happened? Struts was introduced. So struts 1 came and struts 2 came, but they were also using the same JSP pattern. The only difference was servlet was replaced with a more organized way of data modeling and the flow of the data. So that didn't make any difference to the user interface though. After that, Spring came into picture. Again, it was all focused on the middle layer Java. So it was replacing struts, and Spring came into picture, Spring MVC. Still, the UI was developed in JSP. Those time, when we navigate between pages, between one page to another page, the entire page will refresh. meaning the URL will change and the whole page will reload to a fresh page. That was not giving a good user experience. So to help that, jQuery was introduced. So jQuery was an asynchronous XML HTTP call. So from the JSP, without refreshing the entire page, in the backend, the call will be done to the server and the object will be fetched and displayed on the page. So the purpose jQuery came was to prevent the entire page load and make the user experience more flexible and seamless. So after that, uh, so till now I've come to Spring MVC. So the middle layer developed to Spring MVC and JSP had jQuery in it. So this was there for some time. That is when Adobe Flex came. We had a RIA application architecture in 2008. So RIA means Rich Internet Application, where again the page, it is also an SPA. A single page was there. It is going to call the API and fetch the data. The middle layer was still Spring MVC. But after some time, the Adobe Flex needed Flash Builder to run it. So we used to develop the Adobe Flex in a Flash Builder IDE, and the output of the program was SWF, which was a shockwave file. So this needed a Flash player to run, and after some time, Google announced that Flash had security issue, so Adobe Flex was phased out, and 2020 end it was phased out. So people now went back to HTML. So Adobe, not Adobe, Google released Angular JS in 2014 or so, where earlier JSP plus jQuery was there. What they did, they removed the entire JSP structure and they purely brought HTML, and using an HTML framework itself, they started reaching out to the API and pull the data. So the Ajax also was removed. With the invention or with the introduction of the Angular JS, things started becoming very easier for the developer. It was all a single page. It was very cool to develop the applications. But after like 2 years later, Angular JS had lots of issues. I mean, people came to know, or people understood the difficulty in writing the Angular JS application. That is when they scrapped the entire project and Angular was introduced. So Angular is totally different from Angular JS. The way data are bind, the way data are sent to the servers, so everything is totally different. That is when Angular was introduced. So they named it as Angular 2. So that I'll go in the next slide. So Angular is a framework which was built for SPA, single page application. The beauty of the Angular is we write codes in HTML, CSS, and also TS TypeScript, but the output. Yes, please. You can interrupt anytime. Yes, please.
You mean to say Angular 1 is Angular JS and Angular is Angular 2?
We can have it that way, but it was not officially said that way. Angular JS is having the name as Angular JS itself, but people tell Angular 1 is Angular JS, but Angular JS and Angular 2 are miles apart. You cannot compare. If you know Angular JS, it doesn't mean you'll know Angular.
Okay,
Those are
actually Angular 1 is was using ActionScript, right? This is TypeScript. That is a major difference I can see between Angular 1 and Angular 2.
Yes, that's a totally the architecture, the framework itself is totally different. The way data flows, everything is totally. It was built from scratch. Angular 2 was totally built from scratch. They didn't reuse any of the components from Angular.
Is it necessary like we need to know Angular 1 to
No,
learn Angular 2?
no. It is totally new language. You need not know any bits of Angular JS.
Yeah, okay.
You can straight start from Angular.
Fine.
Okay. So the output of Angular application is a pure JS file, JavaScript. Even if you write TypeScript, even if you write HTML or CSS, Angular is going to convert everything into a JavaScript file, and that is what is going to run in the web page. When we go through the program, I'll show you that. So you will never have a HTML content or a CSS content or a TypeScript content when you actually render the website. Everything will be just JavaScript. So JavaScript loads the page asynchronously behind the screen, and that replaces the HTML DOM in the page. That is how Angular works. So from this slide, what is the takeaway? The output of Angular application is 100% .js file. It would be only JavaScript. But you need not know JavaScript. You will write in TypeScript and HTML and CSS. The Angular framework will, when you run the deploy package, they will convert and will bring out the JS file. So this is what is the Angular JS versus Angular 11. So this is the history. So initially Angular JS was there. Then Angular 2 came. They omitted 3 because of naming convention of other packages. So they went to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the current version is 11.2, and 12 is planned to be released in the month of May. I mean, it's this month, like next 2 weeks, 12 will be released. Of these, I would tell like 5 and 6 was a breakthrough. They had many breaking changes, and again 11, 10 and 11, 10 to 11 was again a breaking change. So, but otherwise, from 2 to 11, the core is not changed. One of the key features introduced in 11 were the IV engine. So we'll go through all these in the later points separately, like what is new. So this is a short history of Angular. Coming to the next slide, how do you get prepared, or what is the basics you need to know to run an Angular application? So the first is Node.js. This is just like an npm node packaging to retrieve the supporting libraries. Just like we use Maven in Java or jar files, we use this Node.js to download the required library. So you can go to the nodejs.org and download the latest package and get it installed. That is the first step. Once you have installed, if you go to command prompt and do node -v, node -v, no, node -v. We have the version. I have 13.14.0. So this is how you verify the version number to ensure that node is installed correctly. So once the node is installed, then we install the Angular. So the command to install Angular is npm install -g angular @cli. You need not worry about the command. All you have to do is angular.io. You can go to this site and I'll spend few minutes on this site. So always you have this as a library. Here, if you see here, the latest version, stable version 11.2.12. That's the latest version. And if you click here, they have the next version and the RC, the previous versions, all these are there. You can pull out any versions you want. So if we go to the next version, the site will become red. 12.1 is the next version. So you can track this site to know what's latest in Angular, when it is coming. And also you can track the dates, like the active dates. You go to release information, roadmap. So if you go to roadmap, there will be sorry, once again, I'll take up a call. It's coming for a long time. Hello. the நீங்க அந்த நம்பர் பண்றீங்களா? நான் ஒரு நம்பர் சொல்றேன். ஏன்னா நாங்க வந்து பாண்டிச்சேரியில இருக்கோம். நான் ஆர்டர் போட்டு வரேன். Okay, I'm back. Sorry for that. I have to take some urgent call. So, okay, here the roadmap, they would have given the Angular roadmap, updating. Okay, release practices. In this release practices, here in the release practice, they have a, there will be, yeah, here it is. They've given the version numbers, the status, the release date, and when it is ending. So if you see 9 is already, the active date is done. It has ended in August 6, and the long-term support ends in August 6, 21. So 11, which was released in November, the active date is May 11, in another like 6 days, and the LTS is 1 year from now. Usually they give like less than that. Because of COVID, they have given more dates. So the older versions of Angular 4, 5, 6, 8 are no longer under support. So any projects using these should be upgraded immediately. So this is one thing. So what I was telling, so install Angular, you have to go to setup, and in setup, you see here the command to install the Angular. They have given the prerequisites. You should know JavaScript, HTML, CSS, but it is not mandatory. And you should have the Node.js installed. Am I audible?
Yes, Rajesh.
Okay. So
Sir.
yeah, great. So they have given the command to install. All you have to do is just copy this command and go to a fresh command prompt and give it and install. It would take some time. What would happen is all the supporting files would be downloaded. Not this one, I copied wrongly. So all the supporting files would be downloaded into your system. As G means global. So if you don't give G, only in that directory the Angular would be installed. So when I give G, it would be installing in global. The equivalent of this in Java is the path. The path we give an environment variable. So once you give a path in environment variable, it is accessible anywhere in the system. So that is the purpose of this G. So once that is done, we have to create a new project. Let's go back to the slide. So once you have installed this, you can go and execute this command ng -version and see what is the version. You can open globally and go to ng -version. The version I have installed is 11.2, which is the latest version which we saw. And Node.js is 13.14 and the Windows. And these are the packages which came up default with the Angular: Architect, core package, schema. The equivalent of this is the libraries in Java. We have the Java X library for mailing, all this purpose. It's like that Java comes with the default set of libraries. The same way Angular comes with the default library. Anything else you want to work other than this, you have to install it manually. So this is done. So once we install, we check that the version is done. Now we go and create a new application, ng new and my app. So you can go to any directory. I have already created one. I went to a folder as Angular project. I created. I went here through command prompt. Just open up CMD. Then copy this command. ng new my app. That's given here. ng new my app. I have given rs-app. So once I hit enter, the app will be generated and you will have few folders. We will go through this as we proceed in the course. So that is the next step. Once the new app is created, we will run the first application and see. All we have to do is go inside this folder where this is created. We give command and we give the command ng serve -open. Again, you need not worry about these commands. It is there. ng serve -open. You can ignore this open. Open just means it will automatically open the browser that's mentioned here in the document. So without -open, you can run it. I have started the server. And so this piece of Angular, the node will start a simple server, the development server. And you see here the final output file, as I said, the greens are the final output file, JS, all JS files. This is a CSS, it's converted to JS again. And these are the sizes. And the server has started and it is listening in the port 4200. So to run this, we go into localhost. $4,200. And that's it. The default application is up and running. This has been provided by the Angular framework. We have to delete these content and create our own application. So the first step is done. We have run the application successfully. Now let us spend some time and look into the directories which was created automatically by the CLI tool, which is the command line interface tool. So if we see the directory, we have an E2E, which is end-to-end testing. We'll come back to this later. End-to-end testing of the Angular. We have a node modules. This is similar to the lib folder in Java. In lib folder, we place all the required libraries, whichever has to be referenced inside the class. The same way, node module will have the entire Angular supporting files. Either it can be Angular or third party, whatever is needed, it will be placed inside. Already there is around 851 files. So when you run the initial command of Angular npm install, these 851 files will be downloaded from internet to your folder. So it will take like few minutes depending on your internet speed. That is the second folder, which is similar to lib in Java. Third is the SRC. I'll go into SRC. Before that, we have few outer files. You can ignore these files. These are all template files which are needed to just configure the application. We will not write any code inside any of these files, but don't delete these files. If you go to SRC, this is where the application is. This is where our entire Angular application is going to be. So it has generated an app folder. Inside the app folder, it has created an some few files like TS files. We have a HTML file. We have a CSS file. And same way, if you go to this TS, for now, just see the extension TS spec.ts .html .css. Then we have the assets where the images go into. We have the environments. It is similar to the property files in Java. And we have the fave icon that is going to be displayed here. You see here the black color A logo, Angular logo. That is the fave icon. If I open this icon, this should bring up that black color logo. Here it is. This is what is getting displayed there. If you want to change the icon, just place another .ico file here with the same name, fave icon. And we have an index file, main TS, polyfill, style, CSS, and TS file. We'll go over this now. Any questions so far?
Rajesh, okay, in the folder, right, in the main folder, few files were created, like karma.con.
Here or inside
This
as
one,
well?
yeah, this one, not inside SRC. Can we know the use of these files
Yes, we will go over as we progress in the session. I'll tell whenever we are coming across something, I'll tell you the reason. Few things, quickly for now, what I can tell is we have I'll open this in the Sublime editor. That's a simple editor, lightweight editor, which will not take much of your RAM. And inside Sublime, I opened this project. These are the outer files. This file, the angular.json, this is used for configuration. This is used to configure the project, and this will be used for building. When after we are done, we have to deploy the code to a server. So to deploy the code, we have to build the application and take out an output. In Java, what is the output format? .class file. So we use a Java compiler to convert the .java to .class, and we push that to the server. We don't place the Java file directly in the server. Server also cannot read the Java file. Same way, the server cannot read the TS file. The TS files have to be converted to a JS file. So this angular.json has the configuration for building the application. So yeah, for now we are not using anything. We just have a vanilla application provided by the framework. Once we start adding the styles, or if you see here, the script is empty. Let's say you want to reference some external script, you have to add it here. You cannot import in HTML page. So you have to add here. The same way the property files are here. For staging, it will be using this file. In production, it will use this file. Optimization, and there is also something like max warning, max error. When the build is happening, if the file exceeds 1 MB, it will throw error. Maximum error like 4 KB. So these are all configuration parameters which are used when we build the application, when we convert the application to deploy to a server. So that is done in this file, angular.json file. Angular.
I specifically asked that we have used package.json.
The package, yeah, I was going into the package. Package.json will contain all the reference to the external dependency which you are using. So it is like in Eclipse, when you import an external jar file into a Java project, if you open the project file, if you have ever opened the .project file, there will be a reference to that jar file. .class path, not project, .class path. There will be a .class path file generated in the Eclipse. So if you open that file, as soon as you, in the Eclipse, we go to right click the project, go to Java build path, we add an external jar file. Once you add it in the .class path file, there will be an entry. The same way, these are the external dependency which we are adding. So what is the use of this is, you can go to node modules and delete this entire content. After deleting the entire content, you have to go to the command prompt and just rerun npm install. What will happen is, One second, let me check. Okay. So what will happen is from this package.json, whatever dependencies we have given, Angular, not Angular, the node is going to these repositories in Git and it is going to download these folders into the local. That is the purpose of package.json. So let's say if I have RxJS version 6.6.0 inside the node, I will have a folder as RxJS. RxJS. If I go inside, these folders came from RxJS path, which is in the GitHub. So these are the default which is coming up. Let's say I want to use something, some third-party plugin for Angular. What will I do? I go to their website. They will give me a command, npm command. We'll do that in the project. So when we run the command, what will happen? A line will be inserted here automatically. So the use of package.js is same like the class path file in Java. This contains the reference to all the external plugins which are needed for the Angular application, which are used by our project. Okay. And here, yes, please. Any questions? Okay. So here we have the command also. I said that to start the project, we have to go ng serve, correct? You see here the commands are here. Ng start, ng serve we gave, right? That means it is start command. Ng build if we give, that is build command. Ng test you give, that is test command. Lint is for checking the code standard. It is end-to-end testing. So this is what we gave there.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the two key files. You should not, if you have this file, you can get the entire node module, the libraries. You should not like delete this file. Otherwise, the versions might conflict. Let's say I am using 11.2.7 and here 11.2.8. Only these two are compatible. I cannot give here 8 and here 8 because we don't know whether this version of 8 is compatible with this version of 8. So this file is very important. Package.json. This is just a lock file. Temporarily, this will be created. You can delete this file anytime. Not an issue. And README is just a file. tsconfig I will go through later. And yeah, spec also I will go through. Then karma. So all these will go through. For now, just Angular JSON and package JSON are key files. Is that clear? Okay. So we went through the project directory. So let us, we have run the app and we have the app running here. So let's go to the source code now. We go to the SRC. We have the app. We have app. This one I added. Shopping I added. By default, shopping will not come. So by default, if you see, we have a TS file, routing module.ts, app component.css empty file, app component HTML. This is the default file given. So there is a bunch of style CSS. So we have a very good, good looking page here. We'll get rid of the entire entire thing. I'll delete 1 second. Yes, I'll control A. I'll get rid of this and I'll paste here. Welcome to Angular. We will just edit this, and as soon as I save, this will refresh automatically. The build will start. The compilation started automatically. As soon as we save a file, the compilation starts. And welcome to Angular. So we know that the output is coming from here. So this is what is displaying here. So the folder structure again, we have a module. We'll go through this in detail. we have a component something TS file, we have an HTML, CSS, and routing.ts. So I edited this file and the output changed. Okay, so the core structure. First, we have started going through the creation of first app. We have already created the app, and we have run the app. So I showed you how to run the app. You can try it out. Once this is done, we will get into the basics of Angular. Basics of Angular means what the first application is, what are the different components of Angular, and how it works. All those we will start. Once the basic is done, we will be studying about the component. So what exactly is a component in Angular? And how do we create a component? What are the use of a component? Then we will go into the directives. We have some cool directives feature. So you can write your own directives in Angular. So once covering that, we'll go to the forms. Forms means a place where we get the input values from the user. It can be an input box or a drop down value, a radio button or a checkbox. So we'll see how to retrieve the values from a form, send it to the backend using Angular, and also the other way. Retrieve the value from the backend and set it back to the page. We have two types of forms, template driven form and the reactive driven form. The reactive forms are all, that's what will be used. Template forms will not be using because of its own disadvantage. Once we cover the forms, we will study about observables. Observables are like a very efficient feature in Angular. So once you study and know the use of the observable, you'll be able to easily pass values between the pages. Since it is a single page application, a click of a button in some like a checkout page must automatically trigger and change the value in the shopping page or login page. So those values we will be we can cover it up using observable. After observable, we'll cover the routing. Routing means navigating between the pages. So we'll see how to navigate between different pages in the Angular. So after routing, we'll come into a very important concept in Angular, the services. Services are the fundamentals using which we can we can create or we can send out the data to the server, and also we can pass data between components. So using service, we'll pass the components and pass the data between components. So services are one of very fundamentals of Angular. We should definitely know how to use it. So once we use the service, we'll write some pipes. Pipes are just to display, to format the data in the UI. Even Angular JS had the pipes, date pipe, currency pipe. So the data from the server will be of different format. We just have to apply a pipe and convert it and display it in a more user-friendly way. That's the purpose of pipes. Once we cover the pipes, we'll go into the HTTP module. HTTP module is actually part of Angular 2, but they have replaced this with HTTP client module, which is more advanced. So using this module, when I say this module, you have to think of library. That's a Java terminology, jar file. So using the HTTP module, we can hit the API, we can pass the data, retrieve the data, and then we'll cover one of the very important parts of Angular, how to authenticate our application. We should not allow any user to, I mean, non-authenticated user to just access the pages. Since because it's all open, we should not allow them to access it. So we'll see how to authenticate using the guards. We have something known as guards. We'll go over that. And finally, we will have a course project. The way I have designed this course project will not be doing finally. The course project will run all along through these modules. So once we finish of the first module, we will we will implement that in the course project. So course project, I will share the structure of the project and what we are going to achieve. Let's say we are going to build a shopping cart with these features. I'll tell day one itself, I mean tomorrow itself, I'll tell what are the features of the course project we will achieve as we progress through the course. So this is the course structure I have found for the Angular. Any questions you can ask? Apart from this, if you have something, you can let me know.
Right. We have the session concept that we have uh, in the backend session. I'm asking session in general session.
Session is in Java, right? The
Yeah,
Java
yeah,
session you are speaking, right?
yeah, yeah. Correct, correct.
Uh,
Yeah,
uh, so you want to know whether we have a equivalent of session in Angular,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Correct, correct.
Correct. Yeah, we have it. That's what the service layer is. After
Yeah.
the
Okay.
routing, we have the service, right? That's where we maintain the data and we pass
Okay.
between the pages. So what is the use of a session? To store a data temporarily until the user logs out and pass it across the request, correct? When multiple requests comes in, we have to store, we have to retain the data and share it. The same way, we using the services, we can store the data and we can share it between the pages. So
Yeah.
we'll go
Not
through
only
that.
sharing, I'm asking the exact Java session. Like we will have timeouts, all those, right? Similar to that,
Uh,
yeah. Similar to that, do we have here, or only it's used for data sharing?
no, actually, the timeout works in a different way here. What we can, what the way it is done in the live applications is, once we hit an API, the API will send out the API is going to send out a refresh token, the expiry time.
Okay,
Correct. The
okay, okay,
API will
fine.
send out that. So expiry time, we'll send it. We'll set it in the service, and manually we have to check using a timeout whether the current time is greater than the expiry time. If it is greater than the expiry time, the last but one, the authentication module will kick in and it will log out the user.
Oh, okay, okay, fine, fine, fine.
Okay. Uh, okay. So that is it for for today. So what is the takeaway from today and what you can practice is you can create a first Angular application. You can go through this site. You can, for the first step is you have to install the node. After you install the node, you install the CLI. Here is the command. Then once install the CLI, just install the app and do ng serve. Your first application should be up and ready. You can just play with the file, just try to change the HTML file and see whether automatically it is coming. And here I wanted to show you something, right? If we go to the inspect and the network, we have a network. You see here, this style is something different I've given explicitly, but we see here the JS files are all coming up. Style JS main. So this JS is main.js. This JS is what is going to contain our code or source code. Whatever we are writing will be converted here. You can see here something as app module. Something came up initially. Here it is, app component. This dot title equal to rs-app, the one we gave here. So see here, app component. Here it is, the app component. Title is rs app. We wrote it in TS file, but where it is coming up, it is coming in JS file. Can you correlate that? So as I said, we will be writing in TypeScript. We will be writing in TypeScript, CSS, and HTML, but that would be converted as a JS
J.
file and it will be coming up.
Yeah.
So
Whatever code we write, will it come to the only main.js app, or for each and every separate HTML or TS we write, a separate file will be created?
for a one module, one file will be created.
For one
We have here app module.
Okay.
If I can have multiple modules inside the application. For every module, one JS file will be created. And also, currently, what you see here, where it is? Okay, what you see here is a development version. That is why the CSS are coming directly. But once we do the production build, this CSS will not come up. Even this will be converted into JS.
Okay.
By development, what I mean is when we give ng serve, it is a dev.
Okay.
When we take production build, we cannot, that's a separate process. I'll cover when we do a deployment. We have to run a build script that will convert, that would take some time and convert everything into JS and finally give us a very small bundle, not this much big bundle. It is going to reduce the file size and give a bundle. That file, we have to push it to a Apache server. Since it is a JavaScript, we don't need a Tomcat. We don't need a JBoss, XP or anything. We just need a simple Apache server. That is enough for Angular applications. Okay. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So we'll pause here for today. We'll again meet up tomorrow, same time, 4:30. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Rajesh.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you,
Rajesh.
Yes, please.
You are going to share slide or anything to us?
I will share the video. I will share the video link. You'll
Okay.
have full access to the video. So whatever we spoke till now, I have recorded it.
Yeah.
So you can
Through
see.
which channel, Rajesh?
Through?
Through email?
No, I'll send you in Messenger.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll send you the link.
Okay, Rajesh. Sure.
Okay.
It will be good if you communicate through all these links through email. Messenger.
Yeah, I can also send it. Can you share me your personal email ID?
Yeah, sure. We'll share.
Yes, please. Great.
In the
Okay.
chat, we can share. Or
Yes.
messenger will share.
Messenger, you just send me your email ID and I'll share the link, the video link to your email ID.
Okay, okay, Rajesh. Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.